Hello YouTube, this is Samaris Hunter, and today I will be doing yet another deck profile, as several people seem to have liked this. Sorry for the shaky hand, I do not have a camera stand. This is a Felgrand deck. I'm not sure if I said that before, and if I have, sorry. Now, without further ado, let's get started. So first I run 3 Divine Dragon Lord Felgrands. So you get a good look at him. Now that's a beast. That is a dragon. His effect states that if this card is special summoned from the graveyard, you can target one monster your opponent controls in their graveyard, and banish it. And if you do, this card gains attack and defense equal to the banished monster's original level or rank times 100. If this card destroys an opponent's monster by battle, you can target one level 7 or 8 dragon-type monster in the graveyard except Divine Dragon Lord Felgrand and special summon it to your field. So basically, when he's special summoned from the graveyard, you get to banish one of your opponent's monsters or from the field or graveyard, pretty much rendering that monster useless. Then it gains attack power. Additionally, if you blow up one of your opponent's monsters using him as for an attack, you get to bring back a level 7 or 8 dragon-type monster from either player's graveyard. That's right, you're not limited to just your graveyard with this effect. I found that amazing when I first found it out. If you couldn't guess, the Felgrand deck revolves around special summoning from the graveyard and pretty much just milling into the graveyard. Next up, I summon Brave a Dragon. I run 3 of him. There's Brave. His effect states that if this card is special summoned from the graveyard, you can banish as many face-up spell or trap cards your opponent controls as possible. And if you do, this card gains 200 attack and defense for each card banished. Once per turn, during the standby phase, if this card is in the graveyard because it was sent there last turn, you can target one level 7 or 8 dragon-type monster in the graveyard except Brave Dragon and special summon it. This is an exceptionally useful card for this deck, as it allows you to continuously summon back this guy. The 2 monsters you want to get in your graveyard is Felgrand and Brave. If you can get them into your graveyard, you're pretty much set in stone. Your opponent will literally crumble under the power. And that's pretty much how this deck focuses. Special summoning from the graveyard and milling, and pretty much overwhelming your opponent with sheer strength. Next up, I run 3 Dragon Knight of Creation. His effect states that you increase this card's level by 4 during your opponent's turn only. As you can see, he's already a level 4, so that means he'll be a level 8 during your opponent's turn. When this card destroys an opponent's monster by battle and sends it to the graveyard, you can send one level 7 or 8 dragon-type monster from your deck to the graveyard. So basically, it's an easy way of getting both Felgrand and Brave into the graveyard. You can then send one card from your hand to the graveyard, then target one level 7 or 8 monster in your graveyard, send this card to the graveyard, and if you do, special summon that monster. You can only use the effect of Dragon Knight of Creation once per turn. To be honest, I'll admit it, I don't entirely thoroughly understand this effect, but from what I have gathered, you send one card from your hand to the graveyard, tribute him, and then you get to pull out one of the level 7 or 8 dragons in your graveyard. That's what I've gathered. I could be wrong, and if I'm wrong, please correct me in the comments section. I welcome it. Next, I run 3 Paladin of Felgrand. His effect states that if this card is normal or special summon, you can equip one level 7 or 8 dragon-type monster from your hand or deck to this card. This card is unaffected by other monster effects while equipped with an equipped card. You can tribute one monster and this card, then target one level 7 or 8 dragon-type monster in your graveyard, special summon it. So basically, summon him to the field, equip Felgrand or Archbrave to him, attack, he'll be unaffected by monsters, and when you do successfully destroy a monster, you can then tribute him and one other monster to bring that Felgrand or Archbrave that you had equipped to him to the field. It's a nice combo. Next I run, get this, 3 Guardians of Felgrand. He's actually fairly weak, but I run him anyways because I love his secondary effect. If this card is normal or special summon, you can equip one level 7 or 8 dragon-type monster from your hand or graveyard to this card. This card gains attack and defense equal to half the attack and defense of the monster equipped to it by this effect. You can tribute one monster and this card, then target one level 7 or 8 dragon-type monster in the graveyard, special summon it. So same deal as Paladin, the only difference is he gains attack points, not immunity. Next I run 2 White Knight Dragons. His effect is that during either player's turn, when a spell or trap card that targets this card is activated, negate the activation, and if you do, destroy it. When another face-up monster you control is targeted for an attack, you can send one spell or trap card you control to the graveyard, change the attack to this target. So basically, he's a sponge. And the best part is, spells and traps don't work on him. Well, so long as they target. Next, I run 2 Kid-Modo Dragon. I have to make that pronunciation because I'm used to saying Komodo, but it's Kid-Modo. His effect is, if this card is sent to the graveyard, you can special summon one Dragon-type monster from your hand. You cannot special summon monsters except Dragon-type monsters, nor conduct your battle phase. The turn you activate this effect, you can only use the effect once per turn. So, if he's sent to the graveyard, special summon one dragon from your hand. Whoa. Here's another easy way of getting Felgrand onto the field. Next I run just 1 Raiden, Hand of the Light Sworn. He's also the only tuner in this deck. During your main phase, you can send top 2 cards of your deck to the graveyard. Then if any Light Sworn monsters were sent to the graveyard by this effect, this card gains 200 attack until the end of your opponent's turn. You can only use this effect of Raiden, Hand of the Light Sworn, once per turn. Then once per turn, you can, during your end phase, send the top 2 cards of your deck to the graveyard. He's your Miller. Plain and simple. He's what will get your cards into the graveyard. The important thing to remember about this deck is that things in the graveyard is good for you. And then here comes the main monster you definitely want to run. Red Eyes Darkness Metal Dragon. His effect states that you can special summon this card from your hand by banishing one dang it. Sorry. You can ban it by banishing one dragon-type monster you control. Once per turn, you can special summon one dragon-type monster from your hand or graveyard, except a Red Eyes Darkness Metal Dragon. On the plus side, you don't have to worry about that effect. Part of the effect. Because you're only allowed to run 1 of him. He's one of the best cards in this deck, and he's what you'll use to make your combo plays. That's the end of the monsters. Now on to spells and spell cards. I run 2. I wish I had a third one. Return of the Dragon Lords. I get a good look at it. Basically, its effect states that you can target one level 7 or 8 dragon-type monster in the graveyard, special summon it. If a dragon type monster you control would be destroyed by battle or card effect, you can banish this card from your graveyard instead. This pretty much saves it. However, they only save one of your dragons. They do not save all of them. So it's useless against cards like Regeki or Mirror Force. Next I run 2 Ruins of the Divine Dragon Lords. This is another card I wish I had 3 of, but unfortunately I only have 2. Its effect states that if a monster is special summoned, except from the graveyard, while you control a level 7 or 8 dragon-type monster, that face-up special summon monster and has its effects negated until the end of the turn, even if this card leaves the field. Once per turn, you can send one other face-up card you control to the graveyard to special summon one Dragon Lord token. If this card is in your graveyard, you can send one level or 8 Dragon-type monster from your hand or face-up from the field to the graveyard, add this card to your hand. That last part of the effect is useful for Archbrave. You can send it from your hand or field to the graveyard to put it back into your hand, then you can reactivate it. Because it doesn't say you can't. Next I run 2 of the field spell Dragon's Ravine. Basically you toss one card to either add a Dragonuity card from your deck to your hand, but seeing as how there's no Dragonuity cards, you'll just ignore that first effect and use its second effect instead, which allows you to send one dragon from your deck to the graveyard. I don't think I need to explain how that's useful. And of course, if you're going to run a field spell, you gotta have at least 2 terraforming, which allows you to add 1 field spell from your deck to your hand. Self-explanatory. Then I run 2 stamping destruction. If you control a if you control a dragon type monster, you can destroy 1 spell or trap card and inflict 500 points of damage to the controller of that card. So you can use it to destroy one of your own cards, I don't recommend it, and inflict 500 damage to yourself. Or you can do it to your opponent, blah 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 blah. You don't need me to tell you what to do. Next, 1 a wing beat of the giant dragon. I only want to run 1 because if you get 2, because I found that 2 or 3 kind of limits your options. Basically, you return 1 level 7 or 8 dragon type monster from your field to your hand to pretty much destroy all spell or trap cards on the field. You can see its use. Because there's so many level 7 or 8 monsters, it would be foolish not to run at least 1 trade-in. You send one of them, a level 7 or 8 monster from your hand to the graveyard to draw 2 cards. It's for draw power. And because the graveyard is ever so important to this deck, you will run 1 Foolish Burial. You send 1 card from your deck to the graveyard. And because of the warriors, Reinforcement of the Army, which allows you to bring 1 level 4 or lower warrior monster from your deck to your hand. That's it for the monsters, or spell cards, sorry. On to the traps. 3, Call the Haunted, allows you to bring shit back. I recommend utilizing it on Red Eyes Darkness Metal, because it's just easier that way. Sorry, oh, hang on. Next I run 3 Oasis of the Dragon Souls. Basically, activate this card by targeting 1 monster in your graveyard, special summon it in defense position. It becomes a worm type. When this card leaves the field, destroy that monster. When that monster leaves the field, destroy this card. So basically, it's called the Haunted, only it affects dragons. Not a bad deal. Next, I run 2 Breakthrough Skill. Basically, target 1 effect monster your opponent controls. That face-up monster your opponent controls has its effects negated until the end of this turn. During your turn, except the turn this card was sent to the graveyard, you can banish this card from your graveyard, then target 1 face-up effect monster your opponent controls. That target has its effect negated until the end of this turn. It just blocks your opponent from doing things. And like I said, it's ever so important for you to get cards in your graveyard, so it would be foolish not to run at least one Needlebug Nest, which forces you to send 5 cards from the top of your deck to the graveyard. Then there's Dragon's Rebirth. You tribute 1 dragon to bring back a dragon. Oh, sorry, you banish it to special summon 1 from your hand or graveyard. I'm terribly sorry. And then Burst Breath. I would run more than 1, but you tribute 1 Dragon-type monster, destroy all face-up monsters on the field with the defense less than or equal to the attack of the monster you just tributed. So basically, this is the monster counterpart to a Wingbeat of Giant Dragon. And that's it for the deck itself. Now on to the extra deck. We'll start with Xyz monsters. I run number 82 Heartland Draco. Get a good look at it. 2 level 4 monsters while you control a face-up spell card. This also includes Field Spell. This card cannot be targeted for attacks. Once per turn, you can detach 1 Xyz material from this card. This turn, this card can attack your opponent directly, but other monsters cannot attack. Dead useful. Next, number 46, Dragulon. It would be foolish not to run him in the extra deck. I'm not going to go over the effect too much because it's long and arduous and I'm taking up too much of your time already as it is. But you can, if you control no other monsters, detach 1 Xyz material to do 1 of 3 things. Special summon 1 dragon from your hand. Target 1 dragon in your opponent that your opponent controls and take control of that target. Or dragon-type monsters your opponent controls cannot activate their effects. So basically, dead useful. Of course, number 39, Utopia, and we all know what he does. He stops attacks. Then number 38, Hope Harbinger Dragon Titanic Galaxy. He pretty much says no to effects, then you equip it to him, and if another monster will be targeted for attack, you can detach 1 Xyz material and make that attack target him. Just for shits and giggles, number 28, Titanic Moth. By removing 1 overlay unit, he can attack directly. Or when you control no monsters, he can attack directly. And then you can detach 1 Xyz unit and inflict an additional 800 damage. Oh, it's worth mentioning that when he activates his direct attack effect, the damage is halved. Then number 11, Big Eye. And this allows you to detach 1 Xyz unit, seize control of 1 of your opponent's monsters. What's not fun about that? And then because I run the tuner, it wouldn't feel right to not run at least 1 synchro. So here he is. Scarlight Red Dragon Archfiend. You destroy all special summon monsters, which you'll have plenty of, and inflict a delicious amount of damage in the form of 500 damage for each monster destroyed. All your opponents special summoned and all of your special summon monsters will be destroyed, with Scarlight being the only exception. And then, of course, 2 Dragon Lore tokens. And that will be it for my deck profile. I'm sorry, I'm still learning how to do this, so I made a lot of mistakes. Try to go easy on me in the comment section. But thank you. Like, comment, subscribe, and turn on that notification, please. And thank you.